Welcome, everybody, to the Modern Day Overthinker podcast. My name is Collin. I am your host. Tonight's episode, this morning's episode is brought to you by no one because I have no sponsors. However, I am interested in sponsors. If you are interested in sponsoring this podcast, please let me know. I might be interested in letting you. Probably not, though, because I'm very selective. Right now, I'm just focusing on growing the podcast and gaining more listeners so I can have some more guests and more interested guests, whatever, The guests I've had so far have been awesome, and people have enjoyed it. I've had a lot of good input from a lot of people, and I want to continue to make this thing grow and see how big I can get it. Give me a second. I need to turn off some notifications. Apparently, I'm very popular when I want to record. But yeah, so I wanted to do an episode. This is episode number 30. It's taken a long time to record 30 episodes. I've spread them out. Over the last year, though, I've recorded a lot of episodes, though, and we're going to keep this train a-rolling, as my boy JT would say. Also a upcoming guest, JT. And we'll have a couple other comedians that I know on here as well again because, comedians are awesome and they're interesting people. It's always interesting to hear their stories. However, I'm going to switch things up and interview some other people that you probably don't know if you're local or if you're someone that's a big TikTok person or Instagram person. You might recognize some of the upcoming guests on the podcast if you're following a lot of mental health stuff. You may not, but they're people with bigger followings and they have some influence in that share their experience with their lives and with their journey with other people. And that's what I'm trying to do as well, so might as well have them on my podcast and talk about it. So, a couple things I wanted to bring up is men's mental health. I know a lot of people are trying to advocate for that, and it's clearly an issue. Mental health in general is an issue in the United States, mainly the lack of access to mental health care. So I do have some links on my website, moderndayoverthinker.com or MDOverthinker.com. Gets you there if you're a little lazy. Takes you to the same place. There's a link on the homepage to find some online options. I've been using online therapy since the pandemic started, basically. So over 2 years now. And I've gotten a lot out of it. And it's been a nice way to be able to still see a therapist. Obviously, in person's nice as well. There's some benefits that you don't get from online therapy that you get in person. I get that. However, is it better than seeing no one? Probably not. So check out those resources. Also, I've recently wanted to hype something. This is not a beer. It's called Hop Water. I'm not sponsored by them. I just like to promote things that I enjoy, and companies that are doing cool things. And Hop Water, I like what they're doing. This is a non-alcoholic beverage. It's called a sparkling hop water, is how they label it. It's a beverage with adaptogens, which I can barely say, and nootropics. So good for the old skull, good for the old brain. It's also got vitamin C in it, which is cool. So good for you, and it's refreshing. They have a few different flavors. This is the blood orange flavor. My favorite probably so far is the mango, but they didn't have the mango at the local Hy-Vee that I went to. Also plug-in Hy-Vee, It's employee owned and operated, as they say. So that is my local grocer. I like to support local, wearing my Allied Barber Supply t-shirt. check them out if you live in the Quad Cities, downtown Davenport. It's a great place. The owner's a great guy. I forget his name off the top of my head because I'm terrible with names. So I will try to put that in the video description and the podcast description if you're listening on audio. So you can check that out. Allied Barber. So what else is going on in my life and in the world today that I wanted to bring up? So I saw an article, I did a post about it on Instagram on Psychology Today, and was talking about dating and a lot of men that are lonely and struggling and they're having difficulties on dating apps, and I was immediately attracted to this article. Dating apps have been, for the most part, a waste of time for me. I've had some interactions. I've had one in-person date that I actually had from a Hinge match, which didn't end up turning out to be anything. But, it was cool. I got to meet someone new. She was nice. She did not want to have a second date with me, which is fine. It wasn't really a blow to the ego, though. Over the last couple of years, especially over the last year or so, year and a half, I have been just going as deep as I can into learning about me and how to become a better me and the best version of me. I was working on it before, but I've really doubled down on it. And that also means trying things that scare me. And one of those was stand-up comedy. And I've been doing stand-up comedy a lot lately. Over the last week or so, I haven't hit as many mics. I've just been busy. I got a show coming up on the 25th of this month. If you're a local listener, check that out. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you will see it posted. You've probably seen it posted. But yeah, it's not hard to find me. Collin Strajack, the only Collin Strajack. The one and only. Can't clone me, as Mike Jones famously said. Man, I screwed that up, but whatever. This is a one-take type of podcast. I'm not going to do a whole lot of editing. I want to get real with you guys. I want to talk about what's on my mind. And whatever comes up, comes up. Hopefully I don't say something that gets me canceled or fired from my job. I really need my money. I really need to pay my bills. My cat needs cat food. Surprised she's not in here right now. She'll probably hop in at some point because the door is open. The AC is off, or it's on 78, so I'm sweating a little bit, starting to. But I can't have that in the background. I want good quality audio for everyone listening or watching. And everyone that is listening or watching, if you're so kind, if you could be so kind, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and review. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify right now, reviewing the podcast does great things for me. So I really appreciate anyone who's already reviewed, or if you're going to, I appreciate you in advance. So what else is going on? So I just got done reading an article and I posted it as well. I'll probably share it as many times as I can as far as across my social media platforms, because if you know me, I'm a social media nerd. I have a lot of different pages and stuff, so I'll probably share it on Modern Day Overthinker as well. I've shared it on my personal page to start out with. A friend of mine from college, her son, I don't know why I said son, her brother, unfortunately committed suicide about a little over a month ago, and the family is really taking in my opinion, the correct approach. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, how do you approach this? How do you bounce back from this? What can you do to turn this into a positive thing? Because it's such a bad thing that happened. Devastating. terrible, awful, all those words. And this family's suffering. They're going through a lot right now. And they're doing everything they can to make sure that they help other people that are struggling to save other lives. And they're being very transparent about his issues that he had leading up to his suicide. And, that it was a suicide. One thing that bothers me about suicide and suicide awareness is the lack of people that, and I understand why they do it, don't get me wrong. I totally get why people don't put suicide in obituaries when people pass away because of suicide, but we need to start doing it. And they did that. This family did that, and I really respect them for that because it's something that you're not doing that for you. You're doing that for people that need to know that this is a problem. That people are taking their own lives. That people are struggling. And a lot of men, a large percentage of men are the ones that take their lives. I think I saw from a study it's usually between the ages of 15 and 40 are the highest rates. And having been someone that's been in a position where I thought, yeah, suicide seems like the way to go. It's very close to my heart, and I've had, I had my childhood friend Jimbo, who took his own life, and my uncle Mark, Uncle Sparky, as he famously called himself, and my sister really liked that name as well. He was, both of those guys were just lights, man. They were just great guys. Hilarious, too. They would do anything for anyone. I haven't heard anything negative about either of them. But they struggled, man. It's tough. It's very hard to live in a world where you feel like you shouldn't be here. Or where you're just out of place, where you don't feel like you belong, or you don't feel like you are contributing or are important or are loved or cared about enough to stay here. Your mind convinces you that you are not worthy of that. And it's a dark, dark place. And everybody says the same thing, but it's true. Not everybody, but a lot of people say the same thing when it comes to when you're struggling with mental health, addiction, which pretty much go hand in hand for the most part from what I've seen. Reach out to somebody. Call somebody. Text somebody. Call the new suicide hotline, 988. I believe you can text it as well. I'm pretty sure you can. If you can't think of a family member or a friend that will answer your call, at least try family and friends, because you probably convinced yourself, if you're listening and you've been at that point, you probably convinced yourself that those people don't care, and they do. Trust me, they do. No one wants to attend a funeral. Funerals aren't fun. No one wants to not be able to say goodbye. And no one wants to wish they could have done something else. People live with that. People live with that what if. the survivors of suicide. I just had to talk about that. I know it's a downer, but it's serious. It's a real problem, and we need to talk about these things. And that's why I have this podcast. We talk about stuff that isn't talked about enough. And other things I wanted to talk about besides, comedy I want to bring up again, because comedy, I've been talking to a lot of comedians, obviously, because I see them all the time, and I'm in group chats and things like that, and comedians use their art, just like many artists, as therapy, and I can probably name a few comedians that if it wasn't for comedy, they probably would have took the suicidal route. Can't talk today, sorry. Not really good when you're doing a podcast. Anyways. So, what else do we have? If you know someone that has a success story, that has struggled in the past, has turned their life around, as they say, has walked through the darkness and seen the light, for lack of a better way to say that, connect me with them. I'd love to talk to them. I don't care who they are. I don't care where they're from. I can use Zoom if I have to. We don't have to do it in person. My cat is in the room. She might make an appearance. She could be my guest tonight. She's been talking a little bit more lately. But anyway, I just want to thank everyone for being a listener of this podcast. And I hope to do many, many, many more. And have a lot of great guests on to share their experiences with everyone. Whether it's mental health or just dealing with life, man. Life is rough sometimes. You can't be happy all the time. That is weird. That is not good. You can't avoid everything. If you continue to avoid your problems or procrastinate them, they're only going to creep up and show up in a big, big old way. I've learned the hard way many times. Sometimes I think that's the only way I learn. Certain things, anyway. I'm getting better at that. Another thing I'm trying to work on is becoming more of a morning person. Getting up and having a little morning routine. And not just rushing and logging into work right when I get up. Because that's what I do. I work from home, so work at 8 a.m. I'm rolling out of bed at 7:50, 7:55 and logging on. I need to not do that. I need to have a morning routine. My friend Grace put it to me one time. She's like, you're starting your day off rushed and you're already anxious. I'm like, whew, you're right. And that was a while ago. That stuck with me. Grace is a great person. Also my first kiss. So, yeah. Sorry I put that out there. She's great, though. She'll laugh at that. We both have different stories about where that occurred, though. I don't know why. Which is just one of those funny things. People remember the past a little bit differently, especially when you're super young. But, what else? I'm going to try to put out more music. Some of you may not know that I do music as well. A couple of my favorite rappers are right behind me. R.I.P. Mac Miller. Mac Miller's probably the death of someone that I'd never have met in my life that has still impacted me to this day. Him and Robin Williams. Mostly Mac Miller, though, because I I watched him grow up as an artist into the artist he was before he passed. And he was just continuing to just evolve into this just creative, just giant. He was becoming such an influential person. He was an influential person, but it was just growing and growing and growing. It just is rough. You know, that saying, the good die young, is very, very scary because I've seen it with a lot of great people in the past. You know, you hear about celebrities. One of my favorite comedians wasn't a stand-up comedian, but Chris Farley. Mitch Hedberg is one of my favorite comedians of all time. If you don't know who Mitch Hedberg is, look him up, please. You will enjoy it. He is fantastic. Died way too soon. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, I don't want to have anyone that represents a political party or that leans a certain way as far as Democrat or Republican on my podcast. And this is why. I feel like those people have their outlets and have their voices, and they can easily be heard. However, I am interested in interviewing third-party candidates for governor. I want to start with governor. I think I might be able to swing a interview with the not Republican. I'm not interviewing Kim Reynolds. Sorry, guys, and gents and ladies and all those other pronouns. That was not disrespectful. I'm just lazy. Sorry. But for everyone that's listening, I'm not interviewing Kim Reynolds. I believe his name is... I got a text about it, actually, because I've been getting political texts a lot. Rick Stewart is his name, and he's the Libertarian candidate for governor. I realize third-party candidates are not going to win anytime soon, but I feel like they should be heard, and they're not. And I don't like the way our country is going with this two-party division system. Like, I pick red, I pick blue. I just think it's toxic. I don't know if anyone agrees with me or disagrees with me, but let me know. Maybe we can have a conversation about it. Because that's what people do. That's what adults do, is they have conversations about things they don't agree with. They don't agree on. And I'm not talking about arguing in the Facebook comments. I've gotten a lot better at not doing that because it leads to nowhere. Or in any other comment section. So yeah, I almost had a political candidate on, but I know he leans towards a particular party, and I just didn't want to do that because then I'd feel like I'd have to interview somebody from the other political party, and I don't want to support either of those parties personally. That's just my personal thing and my personal thing that I believe. I may go against having any even third-party candidates on. That I'm still kind of brainstorming if I want to do that at all. If I just want to stay out of politics completely, that might be the right way to do it. Let me know if you're listening. You can always email mdoverthinker.com with your thoughts. mdoverthinker@gmail.com. I'm sorry. The email is on the website, though. That's an easy way to reach me. Also, you can slide into the DMs on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Facebook. Yeah, if you're not liking all those pages, you should, because I've been posting a lot and trying to share some positive content, some observations about life, my life. That's really all I know. I don't know how other people's lives are. That'd be weird, giving takes on other people's lives. I don't want to do that. I want to talk to them. So again, I'll hammer this home. If you have anyone that you think would be a good guest, let me know. Always looking for new guests. I feel like I should start writing these down because I have some in my head, and that's another thing. Trying to be more organized. I am not an organized person. Everybody's like, you have OCD, you should be organized. Not true. Obsessive compulsive disorder, a lot of us, that's not the way our brains work. There are OCD people that are like that, but it's to the point as if there has to be like an as if, like if I don't do this, something bad will happen type of thing, mentality behind OCD for it to actually be OCD. If you're just organized, you're just organized, maybe a little anal. But I want to make this episode 30 minutes long, and I'm at 26:37. So I want to end the podcast by saying that I love everyone who listens. I love everyone that tells me that they love the podcast, that they like what I'm doing, and that I should keep going. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate it a lot more than you know. Compliments, man. I like compliments now. I used to hate them. I used to be really awkward about them. I'll take compliments all day. If you think I'm doing something cool, if you think I'm doing something awesome, let me know. You know, sometimes it's tough. I struggle with depression. I question what I do. I'm very weird about not being good enough at stuff. So I'll take the feedback. Even if it's constructive criticism, like, hey, maybe don't say that, or you're saying too much, or you're saying too much, and I know I do that. I'm working on that a lot too. I'm trying to anyway. I notice it, and it's hard. It's a hard habit to break. So, just want to let everyone know that someone out there cares about you. If you're going through a dark time, remember, it does not rain forever. It's a simple saying, but it does not rain forever. You will see the sunlight. And when you do, reflect on those dark times and remember next time that happens, because it probably will happen again. It might happen again. Hopefully it doesn't. That it does get better, and that you come out of those situations stronger. So when you do face issues, or when issues arise, you're able to approach them with a better perspective and a stronger perspective. Like, hey, I've seen this before. This is no big deal. I could do this. You just think better. You see things better when you survived struggles. And that is all I have for today. I appreciate everyone for being a listener, viewer, new listener, subscriber. Thank you a lot from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning into the Modern Day Overthinker podcast. This is Collin, signing out.